Today, we're diving into a really powerful story. It starts with a dream, but ends with a pretty painful lesson. We're going to follow the journey of a young Ugandan woman, Nambiko. Her hope for a better life, it pulled her into this web of deception, but it's her resilience, how she came through it. That's the part of the story we really need to hear.
And her story really kicks off with this warning from her grandmother. It's just filled with so much love and wisdom, and as we're about to see, these words, well, they end up being tragically spot on. It's almost like she knew what was coming.
So before all this happened, Nambiko's life was, pretty simple. But it was so rich in the things that actually matter. She lived in this small Ugandan village with the grandmother she absolutely adored. You can just picture it, right? Evenings full of laughter, telling stories under the stars. Their life wasn't about money, it was built on this incredibly strong foundation of love.
And that love for her grandmother, that was everything. It was the fuel for her biggest dream. See, Nambiko wasn't after fame or anything like that for herself. Nope. All she wanted to do was give back to the woman who raised her, to build them a better, more comfortable home. It's such a pure, simple dream, which honestly makes what's coming next just that much more gut-wrenching.
Okay, so this is where everything starts to shift. A stranger shows up in her village. And this guy, he comes with what sounds like the answer to all her prayers. You know the type of opportunity, the kind that seems just a little too good to be true.
So what was the promise? A whole new life in France, and it was built on these three big ideas: good money, beautiful houses, and of course, a bright future. I mean, for a young woman whose only goal is to help her grandmother, can you imagine? This wasn't just some offer. It was the perfect bait, a beautiful song that would be almost impossible for anyone in her shoes to ignore.
So she did it. Nambiko took the chance. She left everything behind, her home, her grandmother, her entire world. But the second she landed in France, that golden dream she was promised, it just shattered. Instantly, and it turned into this cold, terrifying nightmare.
And the betrayal was just immediate. The man who promised her the world, the one who was supposed to be her guide in this new life, poof, he was gone, just vanished. In a single moment, she was completely, utterly alone. The lie was total. Every single promise was flipped on its head and replaced by its cruel opposite. Good money? Nope, no money at all. Beautiful houses? She had no place to sleep. A bright future? It became this terrifying nightmare of being alone and scared. It was like her hopes were just taken apart, piece by piece. And think about how isolated she was. Just try to imagine it. You can't ask for directions, you can't ask for food, you can't even ask for help. The language barrier was like this huge, invisible wall, cutting her off from everyone. Her fear and loneliness just got deeper and deeper with every single minute.
At that point, it wasn't about dreams anymore. It was about pure survival. Her dream of building a home, that was gone. It was replaced by this desperate daily hunt for something, anything to eat. And a lot of days, she found nothing. So on top of all the fear and despair, there was the real physical pain of hunger.
Her longing for home was so much deeper than just missing the place. The actual, physical cold of the streets in France, it made her ache for the warmth she'd left behind. And not just the warmth of the Ugandan sun, but the warmth of her grandmother's hugs, the warmth of a life that had been stolen from her by a lie.
But just when it seems like all hope is completely gone, the story takes a turn. Right there, in her absolute darkest moment, another stranger comes into her life. But this time, it's different. There are no false promises, just a simple act of human kindness, and it changes absolutely everything.
So how did it happen? Her rescue started with one single moment. A woman saw her crying on the street and made a choice. She didn't just walk by. And that one simple act set off this incredible chain reaction. First, it led to food and medicine. Then, that led to contacting a charity. And that, finally, led to a flight home to Uganda.
So Nambiko gets to go home. But she's not the same girl who left. Not even close. She comes back carrying this incredible weight of what she went through. Yeah, but she's also armed with something new. This painful but powerful wisdom that you can only get through suffering.
I mean, can you even imagine that reunion with her grandmother? The tears, they must have been such a mix of emotions. On one hand, this overwhelming joy of just being together again. But all of that was tangled up with the deep, deep pain of what Nambiko had to go through just to get back home.
And that experience burned a lesson into her memory that she would never forget. Not every opportunity is a good one, and not every promise is real. She learned the hard way that words, especially those sweet-sounding promises from strangers, can be used like weapons.
But here's the amazing part. Nambiko didn't let that trauma crush her. No, she transformed it. She took all that pain and turned it into her mission. She became this voice of wisdom, a protector for all the other young people in her village.
So what can we all take away from her story? Well, first, we've got to really think through big decisions, especially when an opportunity seems way too perfect. Second, remember that some people will try to take advantage of you, so be really careful with those big, sweet promises from strangers. And finally, and maybe most importantly, home and family are priceless. They're just not something you can gamble with.
So Nambiko found her voice to warn her village. And that leaves us with a really important question to think about. How can we help lift up stories like hers? What can we do to make sure these warnings are heard so other people don't have to go through the same thing?